Okay, so this is my week 5 webcam post. Um, the big questions for this week is think about how women have been depicted thus far. Have they been fair portrayals? So in The Luck of Roaring Camp, woman or a female's role was not very present in this story. It was all about men. Even the baby that was born was all about men. Really, women had, or there isn't a strong female role in The Luck of Roaring Camp. So it just, they sort of just blush off a female's role for that particular story. However, in the second story, Editha, the role of a female is definitely much stronger, but it's not better, I guess. Because in The Luck of Roaring Camp, um, she is the only female in the camp. She gives birth to a new or to a little boy, and then she dies, and then that's it. That's the end of her role. There wasn't much of her in the story, I guess. And then in Editha, even though she is or a female role is much more, I guess, prevalent, it's not any better than it was in The Luck of Roaring Camp. She believes that um, she does not see the consequences of war. Her only source is what's published in the newspaper. She wants George to go out there and earn her love for her or whatever. She's very impractical with the whole situation. She's sort of, I guess you can say she's pretty stupid. Um, with her like stand on war and what is going on during the time period. She's irrational. She doesn't make her own opinions. Instead, she just goes along with what she reads. She wants George to go out to war simply so he can earn her love or whatever, but she doesn't um, think about the larger picture, the bigger picture. She doesn't think about the fact that she's putting him in a state where he will be killing people. He'll be ruining himself in a way, and she doesn't. She says she's doing it for her country, but really, she doesn't have much of an active role in, um, I guess, standing up for her country if all she's doing is pressuring George to going to war, if that makes any sense. Um, Also, think about the question of masculinity. What makes a man? And what evidence are you seeing in our two stories this week? So, in um, in The Luck of Roaring Camp, I really like the fact that once the baby was born, the men were really focused on providing the best environment for the child. They were very focused on cleaning and their, um, I mean, no profanity. Um, they sort of just got themselves together, all for this child, for this kid. They improved so much as as a group in the camp. They improved, but once they improved, they weren't very welcoming of outsiders. But um, the fact that it was men gathered, together to improve the environment for this child is kind of surprising, I guess, because normally I guess that would be more of a female's role to try to provide the best environment for a child, trying to, make sure that he grows up well, that he eats well, that he is happy, is being brought up well. But in this story, women aren't taking that role. Instead, men are standing up for it, and men are playing, I guess, female roles. I guess, um, to raise this child together. in unison rather than just leaving the child there with one person, you know. They work together. And I think that's sort of an odd role for men in a story, or from what I've read, because they all come together for this kid, for this one kid, and there are no females, so they take matters into their own hands as best as they can, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Um, in in Editha, however, um, George has his own opinions of war. He's not very fond of it. However, Editha sort of, she doesn't like pressure him, but she definitely has an influence on him. And I guess what would make him a man, I don't know. In this story, I don't know what would make him a man, but the fact that he goes out to war is definitely something that we, I guess, can perceive as him being a man. Even though he's scared. He doesn't like it. It's not what he stands for, um, but he does it anyway because he's being compelled to do so by this female. But in Editha, he does it for her. He doesn't necessarily do it for himself. He goes to war for her and not, you know, for other reasons. I mean, yes, there's a war going on. Yes, you're a part of that country, but he doesn't align with the, I guess, ideals that like everyone else corresponds to. I mean, he's totally, I mean, not against it, but he despises it, like it says in the story. He despises the fact that they're even going to war. I mean, it does more harm than good, I guess, is his point. So I guess in Editha, you can say that he's a man for, just manning up and going to war, whether, for his country. I guess you can say that that is being a man. However, you can also say that he's cowardly for doing it, even though it's not what he believes is to be real, or to be true, or goes against his idea or his ideals and his beliefs. And in The Luck of Roaring Camp, I guess being a man is being able to um, uphold your duties and being able to do things even though you're you know you're not, you don't have to, I guess. I mean, they take care of the child because the mother is not there anymore. They do all these things, and they work together for this child. So I guess those are my ideas of what a man or in these stories should be. Thank you.